Now, the NBA regular season over the years has been a slog to get through. We have had some legendary moments, but the overwhelming majority of it hasn't been that good. From injuries to load management to games not having any intensity or meaning behind them, and with interest going down and a new TV deal the NBA has to negotiate, the league knew they had to do something, but what? So with the TV deal coming up and fans' outcry against the NBA product, Adam Silver introduced the NBA Cup, a mid-season tournament to bring some juice to the players and fans during the season. The inspiration for the in-season tournament was European soccer and how they had their own in-season competitions. One big example is like the Champions League, in which it takes place during the season and is a trophy that teams yearn for and is a trophy that has just as much weight as the league titles. It spices up the mid-league season by having games that are intense and have passion behind them. Adam Silver has always been a big fan of this and decided to bring a variation of this to the NBA.
They originated, I think, more in European soccer in particular, where if you take the English Premier League, everybody wants to ultimately win the championship, but there are multiple cups throughout the year. There's a little bit of analogy, I think, sometimes in college sports. You see there may be a Thanksgiving tournament or a holiday tournament, and I think for those tournaments, players get up for them. They want to win them. It's not the same as winning the NCAA championship, but it's exciting. And I think here this notion was, could we take games that are already part of the regular season, redesignate a set of games as in-season tournament games, and then create a separate competition around them? In our case, what we ultimately came up.
Thus, the in-season tournament was born. Here's how it works. 13 teams have been randomly drawn into groups of 5 within their conference based on win-loss records from the previous season. Every team will play 4 group play games on every Tuesday and Friday, 2 away and 2 home games. And speaking of home games, the league also needed a way for people to differentiate an NBA Cup game versus a regular game, so they came up with the idea of the wacky and visually striking courts. Sure, most of them were ugly, but it was something new and exciting. It made you look and instantly knew it was the NBA Cup game. Then after the group play is over, the 6 winners plus 2 wildcards will play in a single elimination 8-team tournament. Then the quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship game, which are played in a neutral site in Las Vegas. And the award for all this, $500,000 to every player on the winning team, medals for the winners, and the NBA Cup trophy itself. There also is the in-season tournament team and the MVP of the tourney. And here's the great part. All these games will count towards the regular season, which does 2 things. Adds excitement and stakes to the regular season games, which were going to be played anyway, and it doesn't shorten nor expand the regular season. It also strings together an exciting first half of the season, NBA debut into the in-season tournament into All-Star Weekend. This would keep NBA retention while also gaining viewers from other sports. So, fans were excited to see what would happen, and it was a massive success. Viewership for group play games was up 20% from games played last November. National games shot up 26%. League Pass viewership for the 7 group play nights increased by 25%. The league's average attendance, which became the highest for November, while the NBA's app and social media channels had their best first month of the season ever. Almost 4 billion video views. Players loved it and said it brought a playoff intensity like LeBron James and Draymond Green.
We talk about this in-season tournament, and it's a playoff game, and it was a fun game to play in. The intensity level was there. So job well done to the NBA adding this type of excitement in November, because there'll be some dark days in November. But your games like this, you can appreciate them. So it's great. And then, they had guys make plays down the stretch.
Adam Silver and the league office were happy too, and most importantly, the fans were. Fans loved it and were gushing over the tournament. Also, there were some awesome moments from the tournament, from Halliburton's heroics to Malik Monk's game winner to the Lakers vs. Suns game. At the end of it, the Lakers won the first ever edition of the tournament with LeBron taking MVP. But the real story of the tournament was the Indiana Pacers and how they made a Cinderella type run, guided by grit and their star Tyrese Halliburton, who I thought should have won the MVP. The Pacers were motivated by their prize money more than anyone else because most of their guys were on low contracts, so that $500,000 go a long way. All in all, the tournament was a success, but there was a few wrinkles. One problem was the courts and how players said they were slippery and not properly tested.
It was slippery. I felt myself a few times. A couple times I ended up on the floor. I slipped a few times. You could see they saying the same thing at the end of the game. Guys, I think somebody probably got hurt on the other side. It's just.
Another issue was the point differential and how teams were incentivized to run up the score, and some teams kind of broke the system, like when the Celtics were intentionally fouling up 32.
And again, yes it is. They're definitely thinking about the in-season tournament. Joe gave me no warning, or it was like they all kept it close to the vest, but they're definitely going for it.
Boston has a season high in assists for the game.
Joe Mazzulla's having a conversation with Billy Donovan. He's like, I'm not trying to disrespect the game, but we have a few things.
And also the name of the tournament was kind of stupid. But some of these problems have been worked, like making the course less striking and more safe, but they still have their wacky feeling. They changed how the point differential worked in some ways and renamed the tournament to the NBA Cup. I'm excited for this year's rendition and will be tuning in every night for the games. The NBA Cup is a great add to the regular season and does help some of the league's problems, but there still are some other problems. If you want to see me go a little in deep about that, go check out the video in the description below.